growing optimism for a win in global fight against coronavirus pandemic. Global economies insist on fast adjusting and innovating novel means that would guarantee a sustainable solution. One of such means is further digitization of transactions, especially financial transactions in our polity. Our guest today is a financial consultancy expert, and we'll be discussing on means digitization of financial services that will help to curb the pandemic in coming times. But before we go into further discussions, let's look at the business stories making headlines. The Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele has said that the CBN will not support the importation of items that can be produced in Nigeria with forex. As Nigerians continue the process of full reopening of the economy, all industrial conglomerates aimed at growing the economy and returning it to the glory days. The governor, in a statement by the Apex Bank, said that the CBN would not support the importation of items that can be produced in Nigeria because the bank could not spend its foreign exchange reserve on what would not boost the economy and generate jobs for Nigerians. Emefiele said this during a virtual meeting with the Chief Executive Officer of Conglomerate in Nigeria. He said in line with the federal government desire, it was determined to return the Nigerian economy to the period when manufacturing and agricultural sector formed the mainstay of the economy. Transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Tuesday sustained positive sentiment with 37 billion naira gain. This is as the President Muhammad Buhari sent the name of Lamido Yuguda to the Senate as his nominee for the position of the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. However, the market performance indices NSE All Share Index appreciated by 1.09%, with market breadth closing positive with 29 gainers against only 8 losers. Consequently, the All Share Index grew by 261.12 basic points or 1.09% from 23,941.75 index point from the previous day to 24,202.87, while the market capitalization of equities appreciated by 136 billion naira to close at 3 trillion naira from 12.477 trillion naira. On the activities chart, premium subsector dominated in the volume term with 180.55 million shares exchanged in 1,837 deals. The subsector was enhanced by the activities in the shares of Zenith Bank PLC and Access Bank PLC. The Senate on Tuesday passed for second reading for the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Bill 2020. The Red Chamber said the amendments to the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act 2010 would boost local content and strengthen the nation's economy. The sponsor of the bill, Senator Teslim Folarin, said it sought to amend 38 sections of the Exact Act while introducing 6 new sections. Folarin said the essence of the bill was to bring the provisions of the sections to be amended with industry best practice. He, however, said that with the enactment of the Act and the establishment of the Nigerian Content Development Board, Nigerians had also developed the capacity to carry out a lot of onshore upstream activities. The private oil marketers now have joined the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation in the importation of petrol alongside the NNPC. Before the downstream oil sector was liberalized in March this year, the NNPC used to be the sole importer of petrol, a tax it handled for more than 2 years. Speaking with our correspondent in Abuja on Tuesday, the General Manager Corporate Services PPPRA, Kichim Apollo, said the sole petroleer's permission to import. He explained that the market had been liberalized while with both the NNPC and other marketers now shopping for refined petroleum products from international refineries. And that's the business update on television.
My name is Chiwendo Osisiago, presenter Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed, and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business and us. Why don't you take advantage of know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080 3071 6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern.
Thanks for joining us again, and in case you're just joining us, it's TV and Business Daily. Like I stated earlier, we shall be discussing on digitization of financial services as a tool to cope the pandemic. My guest is the financial analyst, Mr. John Ochayi. You're welcome to TV and Business.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, okay, let's go to our discussion for the day. Okay, to a layman's understanding, what do you mean by digitization of financial services in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. For a layman understanding on digitization in Nigeria, before I speak on the aspect of digitization.
Okay.
We are already having even sometimes Twitter. So they are a form of digitization. But before I proceed, I would like us to understand the tenacity and the bigger pictures of what digitization is all about. Digitization is a process of converting analog information to a digital format in which it could be form of text messages. Previously, we were writing text messages by letter and we post it maybe through post office. But in this contemporary age, we move from that age to a new age because the world now is a global village. And for that reason, we are no longer practicing the old culture, old understanding, old ways we have been behaving because that has become a primitive in the new jet age which we are in as it is right now. So what that means is that previously we have been writing a letter from our respective villages, send somebody to take it, maybe enter transport to, let's say, Kano from Benue State, from Abuja to Lagos by letter, and they have to look for the person in question to deliver the letter to the recipient who is to collect the information at that particular period of time. But with the eras of digitization, we are no longer practicing that culture because the culture has become archaic and outdated. But coming back to the question you have posted, for a layman, the word is ambiguous to them because when you mention digitization, the lay person, or let's say the downtrodden, the vulnerables, they not really understand what it means by digitization because they will look at the word, what does it mean digital? It's just a migration from the traditional ways of life to the contemporary ways of life. That is what it means by transforming a message which you can now compute in your system by coding, and at the end of the day you're able to access that information at that particular period of time to send it to the recipients so desire, or the person from our various confines, we're able to snap a picture, send it immediately to Facebook. Million people can have access to that Facebook at that moment and have access to their picture because it's no longer in a private space, it's now in the public space because digitization makes information go to the public space in a minute. And coming back system, in the banking system, in the 90s we were able to migrate traditional ways of practice of banking to the contemporary practice of banking system. How do we do that? Previously, in the banking sector, there is a lot of clusters in the banking hall. People go register, stay, trying to, we make a transactions, and then because the process becomes so rigid, Menanos AFG was able to find a software to make life so easier for the banker, for the customer
Customers.
because of the principal relationship. What they do, they create a software and provide it for the retailer, the bank, the banking industry, the corporation, and even the community banking, the microfinance bank, and other organizations that are so dear to have those software. And what that means is that the bank have been able to develop a software that you don't necessarily go to the banking hall to transact. As the palms of your fingertip, you can transact any business because everything has been moved from the analog to online transaction, online business, and then online transaction, as I said earlier. For instance now, it has easy the process. It has also cushioned the process as well. For instance, let me give you an instance. Previously, in the banking system, we don't have what they call ATM, automated teller machine, and we don't have what they call pay up point, point of sale, which is POS, and we don't have what they call transfer of transaction within your, and with your Android phone you can make a transaction. Before, we don't have such form of information because there was no robot to encode our biodata into the system. But as it is right now, what the age has done in the banking system, it has developed astronomically the system by boosting the system from the old ways to a new way. For instance, now I'll give you just a tip touch of an example. For instance, previously, we cannot send money to the next available person until you go to the banking hall and then order the bank to order the bank to do what? To effect that transaction on your behalf. But as it is right now, from your laptop, from your desktop, from your phone, from your laptop, you can send an information because already the digitization have created what they call automated robot, which operate on behalf of the banker and also operate on behalf of the customer. And then the transaction can even be done on notice to the bank until when they check their portal to understand that whether the transaction has, because they have already coded, and all the customer, they know the levels of the customer, they know the kind of customer they have, and they have already coded it in the system. And because of the digitization, even if you are transacting a business, it will reflect in their information portal immediately, without necessarily saying, okay, calling your account officer to say, I want to put out 10 million, 20 million, or 1 billion from my account to transact this kind of business. In such a way, it has made life so easier for the people and also the institution who is providing such financial essential services for people. So that is what it's meant by digitization. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. You said that the digital is more easy than the analog. So how do you see this to help in this COVID-19 to combat this digital means in combating the COVID-19 pandemic now in the country?
Thank you very much. You see, in Nigeria and the African continent at large, you agree with me that the world have left us behind because we have failed to understand and also improve and invest on the developmental stride of the digitization. But coming back to the question you have asked me right now, with this pandemic, we know our country. Without fear of favor, you agree with me that when you go to the bank now, there is a cluster of people. And those clusters, they can transmit the virus within themselves because they are not practicing social distancing. Where digitization will come in to cushion that effect is this. A situation whereby people can transact business from their phone without necessarily going to the bank. It has gone a long way. Because if you go to, let me cite an instance. If you go to Central Business District of Abuja, as it is today, that is the heart of the capital city of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Go and see the multitude of people in a cluster without even a gap in an inch. A situation whereby if there is a proper orientation and a proper understanding of digitization in Nigeria, and with a proper information from the bank, the cluster of people you have seen in the banking hall, you cannot see them there. Because in America, in UK, in France today, they have moved from local contemporary banking system to digitalizations or digital banking operation. And how do they do that? From your pay tag, you can pay for any amount of goods and services that is so desired. And from your pay tag, you can transact any form of business. And from with your ATM, you can move to any bank and make a withdrawal. But in Nigeria today, due to the lack of digital infrastructural development, we find it very difficult to do such kind of business. Because, for instance, if you go to bank as it is today, sometimes you'll be having 10 ATM.
Okay.
It's just one working.
Okay.
And sometimes you want to transact business with your POS. What happened? Network is a problem.
Yeah.
And that is why it is very, very important and imperative for Nigeria as a society to enact a law. And through that law, the CBN, which is the bankers' bank, will be able to direct the commercial bank to do what? To improve on their infrastructure, to enable the customer or Nigerian who is coming to transact within the business from their space of their home, from within their space, they will be able to transact online without necessarily going to the banking hall. I think that is the only way to solve the problem.
I know a lot of people are in front of the banks because they cannot make use of this digital means of transactions.
Yes. Yes, they are in front of the bank because they cannot make such digital ways of transaction.
And most times too, it's because of the amount they always deduct from the account.
No, I think we even pay more. Because you agree with me, for instance now, let me use the sketch of Abuja. Okay. Some people travel all the way from Lugbe to come and make a withdrawal in a Central Business District. 100 naira transport to Abuja from to Central Business District from Lugbe. And then maybe the deduction might be 35 naira. For you to enter a vehicle from Lugbe to Central Business District, and for the bank to deduct your 35 naira by the bank deduction rate by the CBN directive now. Which one is more cheaper?
Using your digital means of transaction.
Yes, of course. Digital means of transaction. One, the time you consume by transporting yourself from Lugbe to cover the space to FCT, Central Business District, you have used that time for another means, because the vehicle you are entering, even if you don't have to board the box, your personal vehicle that you are using to travel down to the Central Business District, you have to fuel. Now, mind you, the fuel as it is now, a liter is 125 naira, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, if let's assume from Lugbe to Abuja and to FCT, and you have to consume 2 liters, that 2 liters is how much? It's 250. Then with to deduct just 35 naira, and then your transaction is done in a jiffy. Which one is more preferable? I think what we don't really understand is that we have not really come down to do our minus plugs by doing our accounting calculation properly. And that is why people find it more easier that, okay, and since I don't have access to internet, since I don't have access to form of digitization, let me just quickly rush and enter a vehicle and then move to the nearest bank, then do some transaction. But the world is moving in a rapid space, and the world is moving so fast. We cannot continue to practice the primitive way we have been practicing before. You agree with me? When Soludo came to Nigeria, he tried as much as he can to set up what they call recapitalization. And the recapitalization was to have a financial base with the CBN, so that even the bank is not doing well, in the process of liquidating, they will try as much as they can to have a backup. You understand? To pay the customer their money. You understand? So that the money will not be in a total loss. And then they have to also set up NDIC. The NDIC is to also serve as an insurance in case if the bank fail, they will also, you understand, back it up. You understand? It makes life easier. You can see the life of a Savannah Bank. They're out of the financial business. If you look, there are different banks who could not withstand the process at that particular period of time. We have a rebirth of a new bank which give birth to Unity Bank. You understand? I'm not trying to promote any bank here anyway, but it gave a rebirth because different banks have to merge and become one bank. You can see the life of Oceanic Bank and then Eco Bank and other banks, all right. So you understand? So with that action alone done by the Soludo was able to what? To strengthen the efforts of the commercial bank. And because of the financial rebase, what happened? They were able to what? To be proactive in their service rendering and then their target customer. It was able to solve the problem of liquidation at that particular period of time. But coming back to what we are discussing, in 2012, the deposed Emir Sanusi Lamido was able to what? To migrate Nigeria from what? From the traditional banking to what? To the cashless policy. And the essence of the cashless policy, like Lagos and Abuja, was the pilot state where they tested the cashless policy banking, whether it will work. And when it came to bear and it worked, then the CBN mandated the 36 states of the Federation to key into the process. What that signifies is that if you pay above, if you have cash, physical cash, above, if you are trying to make a withdrawal or a wire of 500,000 naira as an individual, you have to pay more. If you are making a withdrawal above, that is for corporation. If you are making a withdrawal above 3 million, you have to pay more. And then because of that reason, why there is those stiffer measure is to enable people not to carry a banknote to go and transact business in the market in respective places where transactions supposed to take place. It now put pressures on people that, okay, if I'm buying this, I will pay more. For that reason, I need to use my pay stack, I need to use my ATM, I need to use other form of digital methodology to ensure you're able to transact your business. And what's that? That happens to what? Curtail some excesses in terms of financial fraud, in terms of moving with cash, and people adjusted to the situation at that particular moment as if they have not been carrying cash about. And now, even as I am today now, I wouldn't want to even carry cash because I did my digital method, either using ATM or make a transfer from my phone or do any form of it. So it has reduced the problem drastically. I think with that, it will be very important for Nigeria, and most especially the Africans, to educate
people
to ensure they know the advantage of going online to use the digital form of
it's something we as Nigerians should continue doing, to especially those that, especially now that people are so much in front of the banks. I think it's better for we Nigerians to actually advise or educate them on, you know, how to transact more on digital methods, so that they don't contact these. But then let's go on a quick break, and after the quick break, we get to know the roles of government in this fight against COVID-19. Stay with us. We'll be right back for now.
My name is Chiwendu Osisiago, presenter Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed, and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business and your business. Why don't you take advantage of our special affordable offer to let the world know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080-3071-6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern.
Thanks for joining us again. Okay, finally now, what is the role of government?
Yeah, the private sector cannot do it alone. And that is why we need the efforts of the government to try as much as we can to invest more on digitization. For instance, now, if you look at America, UK, and let me say the developed world, they invest in the public Wi-Fi, whereby an individual, even if they don't have data on their phone, they were able to access the internet to execute every form of transaction. So I would advise Nigeria to try as much as they can to invest fully on the digital infrastructure, and also create an institution for like ICT center, whereby the individual as a citizen can go there to acquire skill and education, and then within the populace we're able to educate